Good morning, everybody. This is Mira Jordan, co-chair of Fair and Equal Michigan. We're going to get started here in just a minute. We're going to give a brief pause to make sure that all of our attendees are able to load into this webinar. And while you're all loading in, I'm going to give you a quick welcome on behalf of Fair and Equal Michigan. So with that being said, welcome to this virtual reality for equality by Fair and Equal Michigan, where each of us are working to pass Michigan's first ever LGBTQ non-discrimination bill by citizens. My name again is Mira Jordan, and I am co-chair of Fair and Equal Michigan. First and foremost, we hope you are safe and healthy. This call is our final big push on the campaign for citizen signatures. As you know, to keep our supporters safe, we moved to a digital signature option. Throughout today's rally, we'll be inviting you to visit fairandequalmichigan.com to sign. You'll see that on your screen as well. It takes just 1 minute, and also on this rally, we'll give you the social media tools to also push to your family and friends to encourage others to sign. We have an awesome lineup for you today. First, we'll have an update from our co-chairs. After that, we're going to hear from former congressman and presidential candidate and all-around champion of LGBTQ equality, the Honorable Beto O'Rourke. After that, you'll hear from the mayor of the city of Jackson, Michigan, where you may remember he led the way to pass the city's non-discrimination ordinance, the Honorable Derek Dobies. Then we'll hear from trailblazing Hall of Fame triathlete, All-American duathlete, and a 6-time member of Team USA, and first transgender athlete to represent the United States in international competition, including qualifying for the Olympic trials and being sponsored by Nike, Chris Mosher. And representing one of the largest counties in Michigan with more than 1 million residents, and formerly the mayor of Ferndale, which has long supported equality in Michigan, we're excited to be joined by Oakland County Executive David Coulter. And our closer today, we'll hear from our 2-term governor of the great state of Michigan, now senior political contributor to CNN and long fighter for the equal rights of all, the Honorable Jennifer Granholm. A few brief notes before we get started. I'll turn it over to Trevor Thomas, my co-chair for this.
Thank you so much, Mira. Much appreciated. We are rooted in our stand, and it's paramount all of us remember what we are rooted in. So we have taken a stand at Fair and Equal Michigan. Every Michigander should have an equal chance to succeed. And we also recognize those before us that fought for equality many years ago. And we are heartened that former Republican chairman, but also co-author the Elliot Larson Civil Rights Act, the Honorable Larson, has joined us in support. We look to his words and guidance that he co-sponsored the Elliot Larson Civil Rights Act 73 with Representative Daisy Elliott. It was about treating everyone equally. And it was recognized that, especially in employment, housing, basic of services, we must do better. And that there is more that brings us together than brings us apart. You know, we talk about what is the problem exactly, and we want to be crystal clear. In Michigan, you can be legally fired simply being who you are and who you love. You can be at your house. In fact, Equality Michigan has taken 1,000 calls for help in the past 4 years. And so how do we fix this? And where have we been? Well, first, we could continue waiting. We've waited 7 years, and we realize that that's not an option because even redistricting in Michigan, it assumes some assumptions that, one, we're going to have pro-equality wins House and Senate, but also maintain pro-equality for Attorney General and Secretary of State. You know, in the legislature, they've taken a bold stand that they're not going to pass the Elliot Larson Civil Rights Act. And when we look to the courts for assistance, the U.S. Supreme Court is held by a conservative majority at this time. And so it leads us to the citizens to be able to stand up, have a voice, and be able to collect enough signatures to introduce a citizen's bill and to finally amend Elliot Larson to include sexual orientation and gender identity. As a marker on the timeline, we are wrapping up signature collection due May 27. And then during this extraordinary opportunity in Michigan, it will go to the legislature for 40 days. Their option to either approve it or to send the question to voters. They can't turn us down. And so with that, we remind you that we can bar discrimination of LGBTQ people. The legislature refuses to act, and we suggest to you that we have one shot to fix it. I'm so honored to turn it over to that other coach in Equal Michigan, my friend, community advocate, Janice Poindexter.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Can you hear me? Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you, everyone, for convening and gathering with us this morning. We really appreciate it. We realize that like Trevor said, this opportunity, this chance, it really lies on us. We have waited for 37 years for Michigan to live up to its promises of being a thriving, loving, beautiful place for anybody who chooses to reside. And right now, that's broken. And it's been broken for 37 years. And you'll hear a lot of people saying, oh, we have to wait. We have to flip this seat and we have to take this into accountability. You'll also hear a lot of people saying that the last time an effort like this was launched, that it was really not supported by brown and Black communities of color. Where there's a co-chair, and I happen to be a Black trans woman, and I happen to be on board fully with all of my energy, with all of my knowledge, with all of my expertise, and also experience. And that is what I speak to you today from. I don't speak to you today from looking and reading statistics and trying to figure out and understand the plight of LGBTQ community members. I am the statistic. I am the person that was written off and told that they would never be nothing, and told that what they wouldn't amount to. I was the person that no one took the time to really invest into and really try to understand and allow me to come to life in the beautiful way that everyone else has. I was the person that was pushed aside and pushed away simply because not only was I dealing with the fact of what my identity and who my authentic self was, but I also had to navigate bias and discrimination and prejudice that started not in society, even within my own home. So with that, I've been equipped with the tools and the knowledge for such a time as this and for a fight as this, because I know what the experiences are. I have lived the experiences, and even though I do the work that I do right now, I still have a bullseye on my back because I am a Black trans woman navigating life in America. That's the truth. With this chance of fair and equal Michigan, we have the shot to make sure that the things that we know are wrong, the things that we know have been heinous and have haunted us, we get to change, reshape, and redo that for generations to come that will benefit from these energies and all of this coming together to make this finally right. We have the responsibility to not allow religious persecution to make us scared. I have a deep relationship with Christ, and in that relationship, from my understanding, from going deeper into it, his mercies and his grace are open to all who should seek him. And I definitely diligently seek him. So for someone to tell me that I have no place in Christ, or that I have not the ability to love Christ or have a relationship with Christ just because of my identity, when the word tells me the complete opposite. And if you can stand and speak for Christ and say that that his word is not true and what you believe is, you're putting yourself in a really difficult situation, and you have to answer to Christ. Another thing, to my understanding, government should work for the people. As it stands right now, our government tells us what to do. That's completely backwards. We should come together. We should organize. We should understand and share education amongst ourselves to go out and make government work for us. I live in Michigan. I work for Equality Michigan. I also work for Trans Sisters of Color Project. So I pay taxes. I also was a lead stylist for White House Black Market in Novi. So that means I paid taxes several different ways. And according to the Constitution, I should have representation that speaks to my issues, to my concerns, and to the things that I value because I am a taxpayer. I pay into this cycle, into this system that keeps trying to lock me out. I don't understand it. Also, if we are to talk about the importance of supporting the initiative like Fair and Equal Michigan, I think what we also fail to realize is that when we support an initiative like this, we also establish hate crime protection. Right now, our laws are set up and they mirror Georgia. And Georgia is the place where Ahmaud Arbery, a Black unarmed man going for a jog, was out jogging, minding his business, and two white men decided to chase him down because he fit the description of a Black robber that was said to be on the loose in the neighborhood. Not only did they chase him down, but they chased him down and they killed him. And this happened in the beginning of February. It is now 2 weeks out from June, and the world is just now hearing about this. And it's because the crime was prosecuted the wrong way. Had it been prosecuted and been able to be recognized as a hate crime for which it was, we all would have known about it because it would have been a matter of public record, and it wouldn't have been able to be tossed to and fro and covered up thus far. And I think that that's a really strong message that we need to send out to not only just LGBTQ identifying community members, but to all of society. We can very well have a situation like Ahmaud Arbery right here in Michigan, and it can be handled the same way, the same level of disrespect, disregard, and no value for life. We are really trying to make sure that we move forward with this initiative and that we do everything we can do to support it. With that being said, I would like to introduce a very good friend of mine. He is a former congressman. He is a father of 3. He is a loving husband, and he is pro-equality across the board. He happens to be my friend, Beto O'Rourke.
Good morning, Janice. Good to see you. And thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. It's a huge honor. And I loved everything that you just said. And you hit it home better and harder than anyone else could. And I think that's why you're one of the leaders of this initiative in Michigan. So thank you. Thanks, Trevor, Mira, for everything that you all are doing, to the mayor, the county executive, to Governor Granholm, who is one of my all-time heroes, and so grateful to be on the program with her. And to everyone in Michigan who's watching and tuning in right now. You all have become a flashpoint, not just on this issue, but on how the country responds to the spread of coronavirus. And I want to thank the current governor for her leadership and everyone who's doing the right thing in Michigan right now, those who can't afford to stay home, to stop the spread, to make sure that we follow the science and the facts and the truth, and do the right thing for our country and those in our community and in our families. I'm transmitting right now from El Paso, Texas, where I am with my family. And Chris, you'll be happy to know I just did my 4 miles Did my run in the morning. Not anything close to what you do probably on a daily basis, but I got my blood flowing and oxygen coursing through my system and my brain, and I feel good. We just finished our PE class with our 3 kids. They are 13, 11, and 9 years old. And this is their last week of school. God help us when we transition into summer, because we've been able to basically follow the distance learning program here at the El Paso Independent School District, but we're now about to transition into summer. So this is our last week of some level of sanity in the house, but everyone here is doing well. Look, I'm on this call because of Janice. When I was running for president, and at a time that I was still allowed to deliver speeches from tabletops and cafe counters, I was at the Narrowway Cafe. And I'd given my introduction, you know, my pitch for why you should consider me as a Democratic nominee for president. And then I just took questions. We take questions at every single one of our meetings. And Janice was one of the first to ask a question. And she said, Beto, what are you going to do about the epidemic of violence against transgender women, specifically transgender women of color in Michigan and Texas and all across the country? And I gave the best answer that I could summon, but it clearly was not sufficient, because Janice took me aside afterwards and said, look, Beto, I want to help you. And true to her word, throughout that campaign, and then after this campaign, she has stayed in touch with me and given me counsel and advice and guidance, and brought to my attention the fact that Michigan has a singular opportunity right now to make sure that that state works for everyone who lives there and calls it home, and as Janice says, pays taxes and works and makes it such a successful state. This opportunity to improve the Civil Rights Act to ensure that everyone is protected and that no one can be discriminated against because of their gender orientation or the person that they love or just who they are in the world is an opportunity that we should not allow to pass us by. So I want to urge everyone who is on this Zoom call to sign the petition if you have not already. I think Trevor reminded us that we have until May 27th to get our signatures in so that we can improve the law and improve the state of Michigan. And I also want to say this, we are in common cause with you here in Texas. Though it is not right, it is lawful to be fired for your sexuality. Though it is not right, it is lawful to deny adoption based on sexual orientation, even though we have 60,000 kids in the foster care system in Texas right now, many of them denied a good home because of the laws that we have on the books. I'm doing everything that I can to change the state legislature here in Texas so that we can pass more progressive legislation and bring everyone in. And look, this is a friendly offer here. If Michigan is unable to get this changed, and Texas is, we are going to be inviting all the talented geniuses in Michigan who are not treated equally to come down to Texas when we change the law here. So we're in a competition for talent. We're in a competition for families. We're in a competition for the best and brightest in America. Give Michigan a chance to compete and to be successful and to do right and to live up to its potential and its promise. Again, thanks to everybody who's organizing this. My gratitude to you for including me in. And Janice, thanks for being such an inspiration in my life. And I'll turn it back over to you all. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Congressman. It means so much to us that you were able to join, and we appreciate your very kind comments and offer to take all of us as soon as Texas rights this wrong. That's terrific. Now we're gonna continue with the main program, and we're excited to go to the mayor of Jackson, Michigan. Derek Doby is also a member of the Honorary Leadership Committee. Derek.
Hey, thanks, Trevor. And hello from Jackson, Michigan to everyone across the state and across the country, the birthplace of the Republican Party here. Thank you to everyone on the call, for Trevor and Mira for putting this together. And it's great to be with so many other leaders, frankly, in this endeavor here in Michigan and across our country. I'm honored to be a part of this rally and explain why supporting the fair and equal ballot initiative to amend the Elliot Larson Civil Rights Act is so important. As Trevor noted, Just a couple of years ago in 2017, I led the local effort to pass a non-discrimination ordinance and provide similar protections here in Jackson for employment, housing, public accommodations for our LGBTQ friends and neighbors in our city. And although we feared many in Jackson may not be ready for the change, we knew it was the right thing to do to show that we're a tolerant, inclusive community that views diversity as a strength. We worked with a dedicated team to build the support to make that possible, with many other leaders on this very call. And while we typically see less than about 20 people attend our city council meetings, the meetings where the non-discrimination ordinance was brought up and ultimately passed saw 400 people and then subsequently 700 people come out to those meetings to speak overwhelmingly in support of putting those protections into law. Now, those meetings were record-setting, and we passed that ordinance into law in our city, and it was supported. It was supported because we all know someone who is gay or lesbian, transgender. In fact, Jackson just recently had its first openly bisexual member of the city council, Kelsey Heck, who's done tremendous work for our city. And it passed because we all know that discrimination is wrong. Members of the LGBT community are our friends, our neighbors, our colleagues, and these laws are incredibly needed to protect them from discrimination. And while we passed that law into, that policy into law here in Jackson, similar to over 40 other communities across our state, we shouldn't allow Michigan to be a patchwork of places that prohibit that discrimination. Discrimination doesn't know any political boundaries. So Jackson took a very strong stand to pass that law in a time when over and over the legislature in the state of Michigan has failed to provide those protections. As Trevor noted, for over 37 years, and it's time for us as citizens to stand up and demand that action through this initiative process. That's, to me, why this campaign is so important. Together, we can guarantee those protections for citizens all across Michigan. We can show the country that we're tolerant, inclusive, that we're a home for diversity, for creativity, that we can help bring new talent into this state, that we can compete with Beto and get those families moving into Michigan. And you can do your part. You can help by encouraging everyone you know to sign the online petition. My wife and I actually did it, and it literally took us less than a minute. My wife and I also have a daughter, Novely Ray, that actually attended some of those NDO meetings when she was a little baby. And there's a great picture out there somewhere of her as a baby wrapped in a pride flag at one of those meetings. And look, I'm sure like many other parents, I'm similar in saying this, that I'm frankly unwilling to raise my daughter, whether it's in a city, a state, or a country that allows LGBTQ individuals to be kicked out of their house, refuse service at a restaurant, or fired from their jobs because of who they are or who they love. Frankly, that's bull. It's 2020, it's beyond time for action. And as an ally, I'm gonna do everything I can and join everyone on this call in fighting like hell to change that law here in Michigan. We have somewhere around 10 days left to gather signatures coming up on the 27th here to share that petition online, to tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, do whatever you can to help make Jackson truly a loving place to call home for all of us. We're on the front lines of delivering equality for all, and I'm proud to join everyone on this call to stand behind this effort, not only as mayor, but as a husband and a father.
Mayor, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and your support, not just in Jackson, but across the state as you have served on the Honorary Leadership Committee for Fair and Equal. Next, I'm so excited to be able to introduce you to the first transgender athlete to represent the United States of America at the Olympic trials. a 6-time member of Team USA, and also I understand has a Michigan connection. Ladies and gentlemen, thrilled to be able to have Chris Mosher with us today, and welcome, Chris.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, so I am a Team USA duathlete, and I'm also a proud graduate of Northern Michigan University. I spent 5 wonderful years in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where actually Renee Richer is the first openly LGBTQ candidate in Michigan's Upper Peninsula running for a House seat right now. But at the time when I was there, there was no representation like that I could see. And at the time, I didn't identify as LGBTQ, and I did not identify as transgender. But I entered college with this excitement that so many of us enter in with, of finding who I was and having the opportunity to really fully develop and grow into myself, into my new identity, or the identity that I've always held that I just didn't feel safe to explore or to embody when I was in high school. What I found was that while I wasn't quite ready to come out as a queer person when I was in college, the circumstances that I was in certainly were not helpful. I did not see at that time representation of LGBTQ people, and I did not see safe places for me to exist as a queer person or as a trans person in the state of Michigan. Some of my greatest memories were created in college, like many people, and I will never forget sitting on the shores of Lake Superior watching the Northern Lights for the first time with my friends, or taking sunrise hikes on Sugarloaf Mountain. But as soon as I had the opportunity to leave, I left. And I fear that many talented college graduates of Michigan schools and graduates of high schools are doing the same thing, because they are unable to fully express who they are and feel safe. I didn't see a future for myself in a job in Michigan. And because I wasn't sure if I'd be safe to get housing, to find employment in the state, I packed my car without a job, without a lease, and drove to California thinking that that might be a safer place for me to live after college. I knew one person there, and that was the leap that I took after school, because I didn't think that Michigan was a safe place for me. Now, as a queer person, I can't imagine living in a place that does not protect me. And I refuse to live in a place that does not protect me. And this is particularly relevant now at this time of the year when we're thinking about all of the colleges and universities that are graduating students, albeit virtually in a very different way this year, but a whole new group of people entering the workforce, that Michigan is losing incredible talent because LGBTQ people do not feel safe to find housing and employment in the state. I think at this time, we need to let those people know, and all residents of Michigan know, that it is safe for them to be their authentic selves and to live in the state and be supported and to be embraced and to be protected. And so I want to encourage everyone who is watching not only to sign the petition at fairandequalmichigan.com, which takes under a minute, but also, more importantly, if you have signed the petition, to talk about this with your friends, to make sure that people know that it is not safe for people in Michigan to find housing and employment if you identify as LGBTQ. And as was mentioned earlier, the complications if you identify as a transgender individual are exponentially higher. And so I'm asking everyone who's already signed the petition or who's watching this to not only make sure that your name is on that list, but also to make sure that you are telling people that you know, the people in your circle, your family, your friends, that they also need to be invested in this cause. Because so many young people out there, so many not young people out there who identify as LGBTQ in the state of Michigan or have roots in Michigan, who have connections to Michigan, who would love to live there, who have formed so many great memories like I have there, need to know that they will be safe and protected to find housing and employment in your great state. And so please share the word on social media, reach out, have those conversations. And I look forward to celebrating this victory when it goes through. So thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Chris. We really appreciate you taking a few minutes to be able to share your story and for the call to action today, that everyone not only sign the petition, but share with their friends and family, especially in social media. Next up, keeping the agenda moving quickly, we have a friend representing more than 1 million residents in one of Michigan's largest counties, Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter.
Yes, can you hear me? Good.
We can.
Well, yeah, excellent. Trevor, Mira, everyone at Fair and Equal Michigan, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to join with you this morning. I'm really excited to be a part of this and excited about the initiative that you've taken on in a very extraordinary way. You didn't let something like the COVID-19 get in your way of stopping you from a ballot initiative. That takes a lot of chutzpah, and I appreciate it and I respect it. And I first and foremost want to encourage everyone on this call to sign the electronic petition, but also help get the word out to your network of folks that by May 27th, we need to get this over the finish line. It's so important. I'll tell you one of the reasons it's important to me. So I first ran for office back in 2002 in the August primary. And I know Governor Granholm, that's going to be a red letter date in your world, because on the same ballot as mine was a Democratic primary for governor. And Governor Granholm was on that ballot in August with me back in 2002. And I'm proud to say that we both won our elections. She's gone a lot farther than me, but she's smarter than me, so that's okay. But I want to tell you that when I became a county commissioner, and I have to tell you, it took a lot of guts to run because there weren't a lot of role models when I was growing up. I loved politics, I loved government, I always loved being involved in campaigns, but I never really saw myself as the candidate because there weren't any role models. There just nobody like me had been able to do that. And I had kind of given up on that dream, frankly, until I moved to Ferndale, which is a very incredible and special and progressive place. And I realized that, wow, maybe someone like me could run for office in a place like Ferndale. After I got elected, and I did get elected in 2002, I realized there weren't any openly gay people in the state legislature back then. So for all you young folks today that have started to take some of this for granted, nobody in the state legislature openly gay. Out of the 500 county commissioners across the state, I was the only openly gay one. Certainly nobody statewide like we have as our attorney general now. So it was groundbreaking, and I didn't run to be the groundbreaker. I just ran because I wanted to be a county commissioner. But I quickly realized how important it was for those of us that are passionate about this and care about the issues of equality to be visible, to stand up, and to help the next group of folks behind us make those kinds of advancements. And I'm really proud of the fact that today, not only am I the Oakland County Executive following L. Brooks Patterson, and I think that makes a lot of people's heads spin, just a notion that an openly gay Democrat is now, an openly gay man, we're not going to be partisan here, is in Oakland County, but that we have so much great representation at the state level, and in the legislature, and wonderful nonprofit organizations like Equality Michigan, like Fair and Equal Michigan, and so many others that are doing this important work. We are more visible, but as has been said so well here, the fight isn't over. We can still be fired. We can still be denied housing and all of the other things. So it is so incredibly important that we amend Elliot Larson and make sure that every Michigander has the same opportunity for success. That's all it really is. This isn't about special rights. This is about making sure that everybody has the same ability to be successful. So I'm very passionate about this, obviously, because it's very personal to me, but because I think the time is right. And I give Fair and Equal Michigan a lot of credit for not getting sidelined, not waiting. I saw that your first bullet was, well, we could wait. We do think we'll have redistricting and a better legislature, but that's okay. This conversation is worth having, and it's worth having now. And I'm so glad you're having it. And the other thing I want to say is, my friend Jennifer Granholm. So we ran at the same time in 2002. I'm so proud and privileged to be on this sort of virtual dais with her today. because she's someone that stood up for our community right from the beginning, and she's always been a supporter. You know, she had a tough road to go with, like the current governor, in that she had a all Republican legislature. Well, she had a Republican legislator, Republican Senate. She actually ran against Dick DeVos. For those of you who don't know, she's somebody that's taken on the DeVosses for a very long time and won. But she's always been committed to our community. She assigned an executive order banning discrimination based on sexual orientation in state hiring. I remember when she opened the governor's mansion, really residence to LGBT leaders, and included me in that. And we had never been invited to the governor's house before. And Jennifer Granholm did that. She hired a good friend of mine by the name of John Burchett, an openly gay man, to be her chief of staff. She has been a friend of our community and a friend of Michigan for a long time. LGBT people can be proud of her and what she really helped get started in Michigan, the first governor really to embrace our community and to promote equality in our community. So I'm thrilled to be right before Governor Granholm. And I just want to say once again, Trevor and Maya and all the people at Fair and Equal Michigan, thank you for doing this. I'm going to sign. I'm going to tell all of my friends to sign May 27th. Write it in your calendar. Circle it as a red date. We can do this. It's long overdue, but we can do this together, including with my friend, Jennifer Granholm.
Dave, thank you so much. You are the best. It's so great to see you. I want to say I apologize for dialing in to this. I'm calling to you right now from California, where we have located to be near my parents because they have been in fragile health. And in fact, my father just recently passed away. So that's what, and I'm dialing in because I've got two teachers who are sheltering in place with us, and they're in the room with my computer. So I apologize for that. Dave, it's so great to see you and to remind you and I and everybody, and Trevor, you've been there the whole time, about this long fight, this long slog. After 2003, we took office. It's true, I did sign an executive order, but unfortunately, an executive order that bans discrimination only applies to the folks who are inside, who are employees of state government, 50,000 people. It doesn't apply to everybody. Gretchen Whitmer has done the same thing. But it's so frustrating that here we are almost, 17 years later, and this question is still a question in Michigan. It blows my mind. In 2004, you remember the ballot proposal that banned gay marriage. Thank goodness the Supreme Court overturned that. But the fact that Michigan has not yet, the leadership in Michigan, I don't think this will happen with the people. I think the people right now are ready, which is why this ballot proposal is so important. But the leadership in the legislature, unfortunately, both back then and today, I don't understand why they don't see how important it is for us to just treat people equally. Just treat people equally. So this Elliot Larson law, it's just got to be updated. This fight, we have got to culminate this battle in a victory, and it's urgent because we only have a few days to get this across the finish line. When I was Attorney General before I was governor, and it was my job then to enforce the law. Attorney General Nessel, she can't go out, and her office is not equipped to battle on behalf of every single person who has been fired because of their gender identity or expression. So I'm just saying, this is urgent for the state. It's urgent because right now, in fact, Fair and Equal's top question that they get is, why can people who face discrimination why can't they just sue? But remember, would we really be saying this about women or about people of color? With this, the time and the money it takes to sue, why would we burden people with that extra burden? Why can't we just have equality? Let me just say that, now that I'm in California, I teach at UC Berkeley, and I so appreciated what Chris was saying about his experience and moving out and not feeling safe in Michigan. Now, Dave, you have been such a leader from the very beginning. And I wonder whether your parents have worried about you and your safety. But I know, like, the students that I teach, I always encourage young students from California to move to swing states to run for office. I know this is not a partisan thing, but I'm just saying I want to see people not congregate on the coasts, but move to places where we really need leadership. And I had this conversation 2 weeks ago with one of my students online, and they said, I would love to move, but because they are trans male, I don't feel safe. I don't feel like I can do it. Why do we burden Michigan, the great state of Michigan, with people being afraid to move? Here's what people see from the outside. People right now, across the country, people have been seeing folks with guns storming the Capitol, people with nooses hung around Barbie doll effigies of Governor Whitmer, people holding, signs with Confederate flags and Nazi symbols. What they don't see, what people outside of Michigan do not see, is the goodness and the fairness and the decency of the vast majority of people in Michigan. They don't see, the Friday fish fries during Lent. They don't see neighbors shoveling their elderly neighbors' snow or delivering meals. They don't see the medical professionals who are risking their lives to heal, their fellow Michiganders. They don't see the cottage up north. They don't see the Pure Michigan ads. I so regret not seeing them anymore. They don't see the Trillium, the Shoreline. They don't see people who love each other and love our state. What they see is hatred. And that's what's been projected. So because I'm not in the state right now, I know the images and the impression is not reflective of the state that we know and love. So on behalf of Michigan's 10 million citizens, on behalf of our children and our future, I know you can push with urgency in these last few days. SOS, save our state. Thank you so much for your work on behalf of Michigan and our future. And thank you to Trevor and the whole group who have been on today to speak with such passion and with love for the greatest state in the country. Thank you all so much for allowing me to be a part of this as well.
Governor, thank you so much on behalf of all of Michigan. We appreciate your passionate comment and coming on in from California this morning. It means so much to us, especially because you've been a champion of LGBTQ equality for a very long time. This is our moment. We have less than 10 days left now, and we have prepared the tools for you to we're asking everyone to go to Fair Michigan's social assets. You can make your own posts. We have draft posts, but it's critical in the organic, the unpaid space that we try to get as many people as possible to share on social from the Fair and Equal Michigan sites that you see there. On Facebook.com, we're at Fair and Equal MI. Twitter, the same. Instagram, the same. We're on all of those platforms. And also, you can go to Facebook.com/Fair and Equal MI and be able to go to our photo albums. And we've also made it easy for you to grab social assets and visible assets there to be able to share in your own words on your own schedule. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to co-chair Mira Jordan, who has been monitoring any Q&A that's come in, and we're happy to be able to make sure that if there are outstanding questions, we answer them at this time. So Mira, I'll turn it over to you for a moment.
Thanks so much, Trevor. This is our opportunity to make things right in the state of Michigan. It won't fix every problem that is out there, but it is important as a stake in the ground that says that this is a state that does not discriminate. Many of you asked some really great questions and provided some really great comments. Some of you are hurting in local communities where you don't have these kinds of protections. We live in a patchwork state right now. I live in Grand Rapids where we have these kinds of protections in law, but if I drive to the suburbs 2 miles away, those protections end. And this statewide initiative is so important for that very reason. For those of you who are trying to do things at the local level, this is our opportunity to do that via the statewide initiative. But definitely connect with us after this campaign is over, and we will be glad to connect you with local resources as well. Those local ordinances do play a really important role, and we're thankful for everyone who has fought to make those happen in their communities, from Mayor Dobies to many, many others who've been involved in that. I want to give a quick shout out. I know that we have several people running for office as members of the LGBTQ community or as allies on this call. We are a nonpartisan initiative. We are focused on making Michigan equal for everybody. But Renee Richer, Dave Rowland, others who are on this call, we recognize you. We thank you for your service to our community. Representation matters, so thank you for running. Moving on to some other questions and comments we got. Many people asked the question, I already signed, I think I already signed, should I sign again? So first of all, if you've signed our physical or our digital petition, you only need to sign once. If you sign physically, you do not need to sign again online. With that being said, if you do accidentally sign again, mistakes happen, your second signature will not invalidate your first signature. That's not a thing you should worry about. But really our focus here is in getting people who haven't signed yet to sign. So if you've signed already, the big thing that you can do, as Trevor showed and is on screen, share the information, get your friends to sign, get other people to join this movement, to join this groundswell, to reach the signatures that we need in the next few days. Trevor, I'd like to turn this question over to you to address how recognition of online petitions work. We are the first people to be doing an online petition drive for a ballot for a citizen proposal in Michigan.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Mira. So to keep our supporters safe, we were one of the first campaigns in the country to move to digital. Now, we wanted to make sure we reduced any potential of fraud because we knew that question would be raised. And so we placed a cold call to DocuSign. They're the best in the business. They have a secure platform. And so we're in partnership with DocuSign, and we're able to provide the experience that you see at fairandequalmichigan.com to make sure it's safe and secure. It keeps our supporters, volunteers, and teams safe from potential COVID and transmission. And so we're excited about that. If you have legal questions about the steps and process, we certainly recognize that, and we have provided information to members of the media and through our media release and statements, including a legal background. So depending on how the question was asked, we're excited to have the functionality and the opportunity on our website. It will continue to go through the process, but we, as you've seen in the media stories, do not have guidance from the state of Michigan other than the governor's executive order on e-sign. And so we have followed that to the T, and we feel very good about it. But thank you so much for that question. Mira, do you think that's helpful?
Yes, thank you so much, Trevor. Let's say one more time, how many signatures do we need? What's our goal?
340,000 valid signatures. It is the goal of the campaign in January, as we announced, to turn in well above that to make sure we have, as I like to say, safety stock, or a little bit of room in the event that there's any errors in any of the signatures. And so we're doing everything we can to make sure we hit that goal, but exceed to make sure that we have the opportunity to not have to go back in the field in any kind of way.
I think that that's so important. We really don't know what the future holds in terms of COVID-19 and safety. When we stopped having people in the field, we did this to prioritize the safety of all of you, as well as our own signature team. and our volunteers. And that safety is very important. We're doing this because we want LGBTQ people, we want everybody to be safe in Michigan. And so we are going to make sure that we do this in a safe way. And because we don't know, we are also going to continue to advocate for the way that we've responded to this emergency. We are using very secure technology. DocuSign is something that we all know. Maybe don't love it necessarily, but it gets us through our legal requirements. And we are going to carry these signatures with a clear conscience and a proud dedication to supporting our community to the Secretary of State. Just to be clear, somebody did ask the question. We're not saying that we hit the goal. We're saying that we're going to keep gathering signatures. At this point, we want to gather as many signatures as we can. For those of you who've been involved in a campaign like this before, after the signature gathering is completed, the state goes through a process of validating signatures. Most of our signatures are valid. We've been internally making sure that our signatures are valid throughout this process. And we have additional tools that are part of our digital signature gathering that allow us to do this in a better way, really, than ever before. But because some signatures do end up being invalid for one reason or another, we always target for more signatures than we actually need. And so that's why it's very important to continue gathering signatures all the way through to the end of the campaign. All right. We would welcome more questions. We want to make sure that you get back to your days and get back to getting signatures, because we have some signatures to get. Would anybody on the panel like to say any more last words?
I think, Mira, we just need that help in letting friends and family know, and I'm confident we'll get there.
Someone did ask about money. We are always willing to take your support in any form. It is hard to volunteer out in the field right now. The volunteering that you can do is sharing on social, sharing this information to your friends. If you have people that you know well, this message is much more convincing when it comes from you than when it comes in the abstract from our organization. So share this with your friends. If you are so inclined, we would certainly welcome your financial contributions as well. And you can do that at fairandequalmichigan.com. And we would certainly appreciate that. All right, with that being said, I want to thank once again every one of our amazing speakers. Thank you, Governor Granholm. Thank you, Mayor Dobies. Thank you, David Coulter. Thank you, Chris Mosher. I can't believe I get to be on a call with people like you. I posted my fangirling picture of the screen on Facebook already. I'm so excited. As a trans person, it's so amazing to see trans representation throughout this. It's so amazing to see LGBTQ people and allies and children too being part of this family. We are so, so, so thankful for each and every one of you. And we are part of making this state a better state for everybody and a more fair and more equal state for everybody. So thank you once again from me.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, I wish you all a wonderful day. Get out there, get signatures, and keep being part of the best state in the United States. Thank you.